Welcome back to On Right Podcast. Here you have Elijah alongside Grant. We're going to get into another episode. Just talk about Lions football coming off a tough loss. Defeating loss to the Cowboys on the road. Return to Dak. Kind of a shaky game for them as well. But they kind of pulled out in a overall kind of a nasty game.
Yeah.
But just kind of throw it over to you. See how you feel about where we're at headed in, coming off a bye, tough loss.
Yeah.
And it just
I think they played tough, man. For at least first 2.5, 3 quarters, things kind of started to fall apart. After that fumble, it felt like at the one, in the red zone. Offense was decent. I think that today, if you wanted to really, you could point at a lot of different things with that fumble and then just Goff to turn the ball over himself 4 times. That just really made the difference, I think, in my opinion, because I feel like I think the defense looked better. They got some guys back like Pascal. I saw him, he was made a play or two, or Cora. They just got more depth on defense, so I think will help them more going forward. But it just, it's one of them things where, to shoot yourselves in the foot, you just they just did things. They just got in their own way at the end of the day. And like you said, Cowboys didn't really play that great. And they really, I think Dak only had 1 touchdown. That was in garbage time, late fourth quarter. They, I feel like we were pressuring him all game, but they did run the ball pretty well. And I think overall if you were to maybe point anything positive, I'd say I'm kind of glad that Campbell didn't I feel like the last few weeks he was kind of or especially that Patriots game, he was kind of the reason they lost that game. In my opinion, I feel like he wasn't, he didn't really get in the way of things today. A loss still sucks, but I can look at this game and be okay, had some guys out, ball goes a couple other ways, but that's 4 turnovers from Goff. That's just something that you'll never overcome. I don't care what team you are. So
yeah. No, it's one of those things where the team, up until 2 weeks ago, everybody was toting the offense. They were blaming the defense, toting the offense. Jared Goff looked like, he had was hitting, a high point of his career, a good stride. You had weapons all around. Hawkinson, only a couple of weeks ago had, 170-yard game or something. So I think, the offense was rolling, but now that is completely halted.
mm-hmm.
And the defense seemed to be playing better, but they also, when you coming from where they're coming from, that's pretty much all you can do is, play better.
Right.
And in the fusion of players, you say right before we hopped on, Pascal played. I think that was a 2nd-round pick of ours.
Mm-hmm.
His first game, he got some action. Hutchinson seemed to have another game of his. It's kind of, no sacks in the first 2 games, 3-sack game. And then no sacks for 2 or 3 games. And then he had a 1.5, 2-sack game today.
Yeah.
So, he's kind of, learning how to play. They've moved him around more this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, they are doing some justice when it comes to, trying to help themselves on defense. But then now something that you were completely banking on is completely halted. That's the offense.
Yeah. And I think too,
you can't really put it all together at once.
Right. I think too, one thing with the offense, man, he was doing a lot of that scoring, a lot of them yards, is that we was losing.
Yep. So
you're playing, prevent defenses, teams are playing on you off. I think, starting to get exposed on offense now. We were putting up all them points. Everybody was full strength right there, ready to go. But if you look, pretty much after that Minnesota game, the wheels have kind of been falling. In the Seattle game, they, put up some decent points, but they were down. But it's tough to be we're great on offense, but then if you really peel back layers, we're doing a lot of that in garbage time. And then, adversity hits, you got some guys out banged up, and Goff just, we got a strong O-line. He's kind of holding on to the ball, fumbling, not having the greatest pocket presence. It's one of the things where nobody ever has their full receiving core, for a whole season. It just kind of comes down to injuries sucked, but you can't really use him as an excuse. And I think we're just kind of looking at it, just seeing what he really is. It's like if stuff's not perfect, yeah, I mean he's just not going to be, not going to be very productive. So
Yeah, and just looking at the how we kind of I did miss a little bit of the first half, just being on the road coming back, but I think from what I did see, the like you said, they're kind of figuring out our offense to a certain degree, or maybe like you said, it's just not working because we're I don't know, it just kind of is halted. It's completely different. It makes you wonder, or kind of they figured out exactly what we were doing and just kind of keying in on that. Are we, typically you don't go from scoring up 35, 40 points a game to back-to-back no touchdown games.
right,
And I think that's pretty telling. I read something on Twitter, not completely verified, I don't think, but that they are the first team in like 50 years to not score a touchdown in back-to-back games. And I think that's just kind of incredible itself, coming off of the highest scoring offense.
yeah,
And, and I just checked before we hopped on. They didn't go for at fourth down at all. That's something we talked about last game or last week when he was on pace to go for like 80 times in the year, and then all of a sudden you completely slam the brakes on that. You are
yeah,
listening to what other people are saying. I'm
yeah,
not saying you should keep going for a fourth down, especially in unnecessary situations. But if your mo is to be an aggressive coach, you still have to stay true to yourself and can't listen to whatever people are saying. I think that just shows kind of what we have going on there from the coaching standpoint, that he can be. I'm not. We obviously gave him nicknames Fourth Down Dan, and I'm not saying it is a kind of a catch-22 for him. He can't win either way, but I think it's very telling when you were going for it 6-7 times a game, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden you go zero, and
yeah,
your offense stalls out, and a bunch of other stuff. It makes me wonder, what they have going on here. Ben Johnson, he might be on the hot seat here too. You can't have too many games where you're putting up 6.
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it literally feels like everything. And like I said, the defense. I mean, I think they played a lot better. Just grant
Yeah,
like what situation they
for
were
sure.
put in a lot of different times. With just short fields and such. But now things are felt that just kind of shifts to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
And it's going to go back to, like I said, you can't sit and like look at injuries and be like, well, this guy wasn't here. I mean, it sucks, but like got to find a way to make it happen. No, I mean, you gotta give credit to Dallas. They got a great defense. I mean, I was kind of confused that Goff kept going at Trayvon Diggs, ended up throwing a pick eventually. Like, I don't know. There was just a lot of different things in the game today, just on the offensive side of the ball that I was just kind of confused about. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting too, like not really seeing Campbell go for it on fourth, really at all. I mean, I don't think we were really in a. I feel like the offense did okay. It's just there was like it's just an inconsistency. It felt like to where they were kind of humming, clicking, and then it just would like, yeah. I mean, it would just be the exact opposite like the next drive. So, yeah. I mean, I think just another week of having to go back to the drawing board, I guess, and just try to understand and figure out what you can improve on. Hope people are more healthy. I mean, you start to kind of get worried when Swift misses the game before the bye week, and then has a bye week, and then misses this game too. And that's just something tough to deal with as far as just not having him available. I think he's going on IR, so he's gone for a month. Like I said, we know who Jared Goff is. Stuff's not completely perfect, so
yeah,
hopefully we can at least like keep things formidable. Hopefully, like St. Brown can come back and we had a concussion today. Hopefully, he can come back and play next week, and we can potentially put it all together. Have a strong defensive performance, have a solid offensive performance, and yeah.
right.
So
I the Swift thing is so tough because when he's available and on the field, I mean, you can't deny that he's a very dynamic back, very
yeah,
good. He seemed to be having, the last thing I remember, I mean, when I envision his season so far, he had like 150 yards the first game. I remember him having like a 50 or 60-yard touchdown rush in that second game, and
yeah,
then I feel like he's been banged up since that moment. Uh,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like he's getting robbed of a great year because he seemed to have a lot of things clicking for him, and and that's tough. So hopefully he can bounce back and have a second stride to the season. St.
Yeah,
Brown. another thing, just banged up all the time. Hawkinson inconsistent, golf inconsistent. The O line is, beat to shreds as well.
They still hold it down.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
no, they're
too.
holding down, but yeah, with
Still just
a
hurt.
completely different cast, or mostly
Hmm.
different cast than what you were going into, or what you were seeing on Hard Knocks. So
Right.
it's you know, it, but that is the name of the game. That is the NFL. It comes down to your twos and threes. It comes down to
Having
making
that
timely
depth.
plays, the depth, and that separates the teams.
Yeah.
We just talked about it earlier. I'm just kind of linking in something else. We just talked about the Steelers and how they could still get anybody because they're the Steelers, and
Hmm.
their coach, and that who they have on the defensive side of the ball, and they still can sneak up and get any good formidable team.
Yep.
And that's the kind of place that you want to be in,
Yep.
where you could always in on something. So it's all about having that depth, and but also capitalizing. We played some teams that are banged up when we weren't, and
Hmm.
we still came up with losses. So I don't
Yep.
know, it's a tough thing to witness.
Right.
I know we can't even have tryouts for people. Swift, like, he was just kind of was a make it or break it year, and how do you analyze a year where he was great when he was on the field, but he wasn't on the field that much.
Only played, 10, 11, 12 game. Yeah, just
Right.
not getting a full season out of them. And yeah, I mean, today was one of them days where, they put themselves in spots to, get the W. And
Right.
it's crazy because, before that play when he fumbled, when Williams fumbled at the 1 yard line, the tight end was like that close to getting in just off of like the screen pass. And I mean, it's just like, if it's not one thing, it's another almost. Like,
Mhm.
they literally come that close to, taking the lead, huge momentum shifts. But yeah, I mean, just the inconsistencies all across the board, just on offense. I mean, that was just kind of like, that just kind of was the day in a nutshell. It was just kind of getting close enough. I mean, they're driving it here and there, just getting, they're doing okay, but just couldn't really get the, close the, get the job done or close the deal on certain like third downs and such. So yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, if you want to, hang our hats on anything, the defense does a little bit better. I think having more people around Hutchinson will make it to where he was getting doubled quite a bit because he was like their only pass rusher. So you can hope, they get like a Cora back and they get Pascal back, continue to move him around a little bit. Hopefully just like the defense as a whole can start to just, get healthier and improve on that side of the ball. Cause I mean, we can do that and hopefully just get everybody back healthy. Maybe got a chance, but yeah, today was just one of them days where stuff just wasn't really going right. And I mean, you appreciate the fight, just not getting, your doors blown off like they did against the Patriots, but it's still just a tough loss, tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, no, and obviously we're going to talk about the their game next week, but just looking forward to the Dolphins. Obviously they have a game tonight. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be interesting to see what they look like, what Tua looks like, and so I think that's kind of another game that's very probably winnable.
Yeah.
That he might still be shaky. He might, who knows. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
that's another game that is very possible. Yeah. So I mean, hey, it's
But they were also playing
yeah.
some of the two fastest receivers in the league, so it's ready to get ready for a track meet.
Right.
So I'll say, I mean, they don't, they're not. The offense we saw today was nowhere near as potent as, what we may see down the road. So yeah.
Yeah. No, sure. You got anything else for the people?
That's all I got, man. I said, hopefully they can get back to the drawing board, clean up things on offense, get people back healthy, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Peace.